sir.
Hey, I'm Kofi.
Hey, I'm Randolph. Welcome to the Shepherd's Bench podcast.
Keep it locked right here on the SBB.
Yes, sir.
If you love me, feed my sheep.
Feed my sheep.
Tend to my lambs. Hey, that's a big one.
Let's go.
We're here. Bro, what's going on, man?
We're here.
We finally made it.
It's like a dream, man.
Bro, this feels surreal. Who would have thought that two men of God, brothers, different parts of the world, will be on a podcast? But here we are.
We're here.
Hey, man, we're on the simple, whoa. I almost said the simple gospel podcast because we're not on the simple. Shout out to my brother. Shout out to Prof. Here's the simple gospel podcast. We are on the Shepherd's Bench podcast right here. Myself, Pastor Randolph. Talk to me. How you feeling?
Great, man.
Yeah.
Great. How you feeling?
Bro, I can't lie. It feels amazing. This feels surreal. But honestly, I feel like it's time. I think that there's some things that and perspectives that we feel like we both have that we can definitely bring to this space, the podcast space. I feel like there's a lot of voices in it, but I feel like in this time in space that we need to be able to also jump in. And bro, we're here. We're here. Why don't we bring the people back a bit on how we met and let's get into that story a bit. So how did you hear about me? And then I'll get to those.
Let's see who has the best memory here.
Okay, so I met you at Emmanuel Smith's concert at the O2, one of the O2s.
True.
I think it was a Shepherd's, no, not Shepherd, one of the O2s. I think I met you. Yeah. And it was
Did we meet before the concert or it was after?
It was during.
Yeah?
It was during the concert. During or after, one of the two, I think.
Because I think the first memory I have is when we met at the Nando's.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was me, you, Prof.
Okay.
It was Yao,
Yes.
Mr. Yao.
Yes, I was there with Nick.
Emmanuel Smith.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I can recall. That's the first.
So that was actually so this what happened. So we were at Emmanuel Smith's concert, and then I think Yao had brought me to you and said, "This is one of my brothers, Randolph. You need to meet him."
Shout out to
Shout out to Pastor Yao. Shout out to Pastor Yao. And he's like, "You need to meet him. Yo, crazy prayer guy. This. I was like, "Yo, what?" Like, I'm like, "Okay, all right. Let's see what's up." And then when we linked up, then you were like, "Oh, why don't we get something to eat or something like that?" And then I think it was Emmanuel Samoa who we were liaising with.
True.
And then we ended up at the Nando's in. Do you remember the mall? It was the one right here, or the one.
I don't remember.
You don't remember.
No.
We met at the popular one that's here. I forget. There's a major one.
But I remember we were at the Nando's. We had such a great time.
Yeah.
But the first time I heard about you was from someone, to be honest.
Wow.
I think we were in Germany back then, and it was more he was playing your music.
Okay.
So he was actually playing this music about this group called Campus Rash, yourselves, Ryan, and that was the first time. Wow. So I would say it was more about your music that I got to know first through Asamoah.
Wow.
And then I think that the next meeting was when we met with. Was that before the pandemic? Or
this was
after?
all before pandemic. So when we met in that Nando's, I remember, us sitting down and we were all there and we had a great conversation. And I think one of the things that I took away from this conversation is you were talking about upper room.
Really?
That's the first thing. First, you said two things. You said we got to do a program in London together, and the second thing you said was, "Yo, there's this program we do called the Upper Room," and you're like, yo, it's a serious program. And after, I was like, yeah, I heard about the Upper Room. And after Emmanuel Samuel was like, yo, it's a serious program, like Upper Room. I was like, what is this Upper Room? Like, what is this program? And to be honest, I was just like, this brother is intense. Bro, we were having Nando's over chicken and just relaxed over chicken. And the intensity, I was like, nah,
of the conversation, I understand.
No, but I loved it. I said, nah, I said, this guy's a real guy. And I loved it.
I think for me, it was during the time of the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's when I really got to sit down and listen to Campus Rush.
Wow.
And some of the things that you were teaching. And I was like, yo, this guy is deep.
Wow.
I'm very selective with who I listen to. And there was actually a period in my life that the Lord actually said that I shouldn't really listen to too many people on YouTube. So I stopped listening to preachers for a while because it was a matter of making sure that I don't lose my identity. Sometimes one of the things that happens is that I know. It looks like we are going deep already.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
We were trying to start here.
That's the problem. You said the first time you were like, this guy is just too intense.
Yo, bro.
Yeah. So I think it was at that point in time I was very much very careful about what I listened to.
Yeah.
And I wasn't consuming too much. And it was during that pandemic that I got to sit down and watch you guys. And I was like, yo, these guys are like-minded. Wow. These are people that I definitely can roll with because I feel like the things that you were teaching, not just you, I think some of the sessions was you and Prof. I was like, it's not that watered down because I understood back then that, with many young people in ministry, they have to almost make it more of entertainment, water things down. And it was at that point in time when I watched it, I was like, you know what, this is a guy I can listen to. And beyond the fact that, you guys were very, very, very nice and very I think our first meeting, it didn't look like we are just getting to know ourselves.
No. Yeah. Not at all. From what I could recall, it was an instant for me anyways. It was like instantaneous. I knew, okay, no, these are people that I definitely want to be close to. I think in the same regard as well, I'm also like that in a way. I'm very selective also on kind of who I relate with, the type of places where I'm going. And I mean, you've come to know that about me. I'm very, very selective on those things. But I just felt and I knew that, okay, this is somebody that I definitely want to grow in a relationship with. And I think for me, what did it for me was during the pandemic, and I tell you this all the time, I had sent you a message and I said, bro, I'm watching your service right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, you guys are incredible. And this was when we were back at Mill Meet. And I saw those days, Pastor Kofi on the bass and, all the band guys. And I saw the excellence of the video. One thing, and I'm not just saying this because you're my brother, but one thing that I would want the whole world to know is the excellence that you bring and you carry. No, I'm not. I think
it's a serial thing.
No.
You're my father in the Lord, bro.
You're my bishop.
You ordained me.
You were my bishop. I was playing soccer. You grabbed it. Yeah, and you changed my jersey and gave me a KC jersey. But I think for me, the excellence from even back then, it seems as though this excellence has always followed you. I know we're not really going to get into that too much, but just a little bit. Can you just talk to me just a little bit? How did this culture of excellence, did you have it from when you were younger? Did you grow with it? Because I see it everywhere in all of your ministry that you do. And I think that's one thing for me that made me want to say that, okay, this is somebody that I actually want to walk with.
Wow. That coming from you, it's something that I appreciate. And let us be straight up on this podcast. We are not trying to sound patronizing.
No.
I'm a real guy.
Yeah, bro.
What you see is what you get. So that coming from you, absolutely something that means a lot.
Wow.
Because, bro, what you guys are doing is insane.
Bro, great.
And listen, if you don't know, go out and check out Campus Rush, whether it's Campus Rush Music, check out their church page. I think that you guys are doing something really incredible. And you have no idea how many people you guys are inspiring. Wow. And that is why I think this podcast is going to be incredibly important because then we get to share minds and see how we can be able to help everyone who is listening, even pertaining to matters of building and doing all of these kind of things, it will be great. I don't know where it started from, but I think I've always had this thing in me that if I'm doing something and not doing it well, then I won't.
Come on.
Okay.
Wow.
And growing up, I had one leader. He was called Pastor Edwin. Back then, and he used to tell me this, that if it must be done, it must be done well. And it almost like if you can't do it well, then don't start it at all. And I don't think that pertaining to matters of excellence, one has to potentially have all the money and have all the great equipment and everything. It could simply be you may not have anything at all, but the little that you have, the way you kind of make good use of it and all of these kind of things matters. And the second thing for me, and I say this all the time, that our name as kingdom ambassadors is not just a name.
Okay.
Our identity is actually in our name.
Yeah.
So my philosophy is this: if I'm going to represent God, and if I'm going to represent the kingdom of God, then I need to ensure that in every sense of what I'm doing, God has to be represented well. Sometimes I think there's a big irony when you get to places and we are preaching things pertaining to the kingdom and we are talking about how God is and how great he is. And then you look around and the curtains are dirty, mismatch in colors, blue curtains, red seats, yellow altar, and then somehow this is meant to project how the kingdom of God looks like. But then when we go to, all of our offices in this corporate world, when you look at the type of offices that our CEOs sit in, our work environment, the rooms and all of these kind of things, you can see this state of the art kind of thing. And as simple as it could be, environments and how places are set up and how things work and operates, even the systems that are available in these workplaces, without you going into their books to see how much millions they are making, the office alone can make you take that company seriously.
Absolutely.
You can walk into somebody's office and just the way the place is set up, you could be like, there's a guy I want to do business with. So for me, I've always had that philosophy that if I'm going to be an ambassador of the kingdom of God and if I'm going to represent God well, things needs to be done well. I remember at the point in time, I used to find Eliud and the sound team, anytime I was preaching and the mic went off and they came to change a battery, they were going to pay me £100.
What?
Because I said to them that I've never watched a video where the president of a country is speaking. And somebody has come and said, oh, we're sorry, the mic turned off. Can you take this other mic and all of these kind of things? And for me, if the people of the world are going to have this seriousness and excellence in how they work, in Isaiah 2, the Bible says that out of Zion shall proceed the law. Then it means that the people of the church would have to be people that lead. The psalmist David said that, oh God, he said, how excellent is your name in all the earth. We read the book of Daniel and the Bible says that Daniel had an excellent spirit. Because of that, I believe, listen, you don't need to have money. You don't need to be rich. You don't have to, have, $1 million budget. Somebody has all of these budgets, but they are not excellent in the way they execute things. So for me, it was simple that if we are going to, represent God, we have to ensure that we do it wonderfully. But for me, that is also one of the things that pulled me to Campus Rush. Wow. I say this to Dr. Ralph. Shout out to Dr. Ralph. I say all the time that anytime I come to Canada and I return, and my people will tell you, I come inspired and there's almost something that I always want to come and change. Wow. And I think that, in a certain type of era where a lot of young people were trying to do ministry, I think that what Campus Rush represented and what you represented as a person was excellence, quality. I mean, guys, look at what time you guys started even Campus Rush music. Wow. How long has it been?
Man, it's been years. We started the church 12 years ago. Campus Rush Music started exactly that time. So 12 years now.
That's 12 years in the game.
Yeah.
That's 12 years in the game. And you guys have held it down. And I think that there is something synonymous with Campus Rush. There's something synonymous with Pastor Kofi's ministry and it's excellence. And for me, when we met from that point in time, I just could see that this is a guy I can learn from.
Bro, no, likewise. And I think this is what kind of allowed us to meet, because I feel like when it comes to, and we'll get there as well, but I think that when it comes to godly friendships or connections, that it shouldn't solely be on one level. And I think that's one thing that I really would love for the world also to see, that our friendship is not solely just on one dimension, but we're connecting in the realm of the spirit. We connect in terms of excellence and ideas and creativities. We're connecting on various levels to be able to allow there to be a strong bond. I will say this, that going back to that stream, watching that stream and the excellence as we're talking about that I saw, especially in the middle of a pandemic, I was like, it's pandemic. No one's doing like anything like this,
True.
but the sound, the video, the programming, everything you were doing, I said, no, this guy is serious. I'll fast forward it to when we really, really locked in.
True.
I came to London. I think we were doing When Young People Pray the first time. And I asked you, I said, bro, can you come? And I remember you driving all the way from Luton
Yeah.
to Croydon. And you didn't come alone. You came with about 6, 7 of your guys. And you came in, and I was so happy to see you. Not only did you come, but I asked, hey, we don't have a band. You said, don't worry, my guys are there. I said, we don't have sound. You said, my guys are there. And I think for anybody who's listening to this, who knows Pastor Randolph, you know the heart that he has to be able to help, the heart that he has to be able, he's a selfless man. That's just how he is. Now, with that, I remember there was, that weekend shifted a lot for me personally. And I'll get into it and I'll tell you where, for me, I knew that this is a lock on the spirituality and ministerial level. Beyond, I really appreciate you in terms of your creativity and your ideas. It became, this is covenant.
True.
And I think that in order for people to really, truly lock in and be able to walk with people, they need to be able to lock in at the covenant level of friendship.
True.
And so Jonathan would say, my spirit was knitted to that of David. When I laid eyes on David, I saw it immediately. Our hearts knitted, our spirits knitted. I would say this, that we finished that on I believe it was a Friday night.
Yeah.
You left and went to an all-night
Yeah.
meal meet.
Yeah. That all night was
Talk
crazy.
to me about that. Though. Let's talk about that weekend, because that weekend was crazy.
It was intense.
That was an intense weekend.
It was
Talk to me.
intense. I think you guys were meant. You're actually going to have that event somewhere.
Yes.
And then you had to switch last minute.
The night before.
And then you had to take it to Croydon.
Yes.
Which in itself kind of shuffled things a bit, because then people in London traveling down to Croydon is long.
It was crazy.
What marked me was how you were very willing to make that change in the last minute and still get the event done. Because somebody would have said, we've planned so much, we've put in so much things in there. And for me, it's a test of leadership. Wow. It's a test of character. Wow. The ability to make the most crucial decisions, even if it means you're doing it last minute.
Yeah.
And this is the shepherd's bench. Wow. That is one of the things about leadership, that ability to make decisions and be able to shift things and pull things around when people may not necessarily see that way. So I really appreciated that thing that was done, but the event itself was great.
Wow.
I remember I came with quite a lot of my guys.
It was a lot.
And whilst we were there, I think that time was running, because it took us quite a lot of time to get into it. Wonderful time, wonderful word. I mean, the worship was incredible. I mean, that's Campus Rush music. That's Campus Rush. Your ministry is just incredible. Wow. And I think that, especially in the UK, I know that you guys are doing incredible works in Canada, in America, but I think people in the UK appreciate Campus Rush so much. And I think that people in the UK, really appreciate your ministry. Wow. So, everybody was just going crazy. Yeah. Pastor Kofi Dartey is here, Prof is coming down, Campus Rush music. That is a big hall, but it was packed. Wow. People came all the way. I sat down. I remember telling you that I'm not there to do anything. I'm just there to support. So we sat down. And one of the things that I do is that when I'm traveling and I'm going to these places, I like to take my people to come with me to learn. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest ignorance of ministry is for anybody to think that I know it all. And I think that is what sets the line. That's what sets the difference between an ordinary leader and a great leader, or an ordinary ministry and a great ministry. Yeah. I remember we went to Indonesia, and I'm just saying this at the back of what we are discussing pertaining to the event. I went to Indonesia, and these Asians are very protective of their space. Yeah. And I remember I said something to them that changed the game for them. I said to them, I said, you know what? We may have come from the UK and Europe, but we are not here to teach you anything. We are here to learn from you.
Yep.
So beyond anything else, we are here first and foremost as students.
Yeah.
And for them, that was a game changer, because they said, you know what? People come here all the time and they come with the intention of, oh, we are going there. We are the ones from America. We are the ones from the UK. There's a certain pride and arrogance about people from the West.
Yeah.
And they said when they come, they are looking upon us as, the poor guys, in this type of world and all of these kind of things. But they said, you guys are like one of the very first people that have come here, and they've said to us that they are not just here to teach, but they are also here to learn. And I think that if we have this open-mindedness as leaders, wherever we go to, you may be invited somewhere because you're an apostle, you're a prophet or whatever, and then they are bringing you there to come and preach, and you're the one that is anointed and all of these kind of things. But if you would open your eyes to many different things beyond that 45 minutes on the pulpit, there's a lot you can learn.
Absolutely.
You can learn. I think that your hospitality team is one of the most dopest hospitality teams I've seen.
Wow.
It's their attention to detail. It's how hospitable they are. And I say to my church all the time, I'm like, I need to take you guys to Canada, and you have to learn from Campus Rush. And I'm bringing a couple of them with me this time to Wildfire. So I would say that coming to that program, like I said to you, my interest was never to come and hold a microphone. I don't even think I held a microphone or I said anything. For me, the most important thing was to come there and learn from these guys that we've seen online and what they are doing and how they do things. And there was a lot of inspiration that I had to take with my team in terms of, quality and execution. And I know that trying to do something outside of your country, it's not the easiest.
Not at all.
It's very, very easy to do something. It's easier for me to do something incredible in the UK, because the people are here. I have my base, I have all of these kind of things. But for you guys to come from Canada and do that event, I think that it was incredible. And beyond watching, you guys online and all of that, it was just great to just sit down and watch you in person. But I remember we were having a crazy all night that night.
I want us to get into that.
So we had to, I think somewhere around 10, 11-ish, we had to leave and come and that was insane.
No, that all night, I remember I couldn't make it, but I was hearing of that. I saw things on like Instagram, whatever, and I was like, yo, this looked insane, like nothing I've never seen before. And just to put it down and into that weekend, you had left early, but then you had also asked that I come by on the Sunday to come and minister. And I think this probably was maybe the first time that I was preaching in the UK on a Sunday morning.
Oh, okay.
I believe so. I don't think that I had ever preached on a Sunday morning in London or in the UK. Europe wasn't a place that I frequented. London wasn't a place I frequented. So I remember I came with Ray and I came with Reggie. And I remember so clearly that Sunday morning, arriving, I had no idea. I'm going to church. I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
I was wearing my gray suit, white pinstripes. I can remember like yesterday. I had my boots on as always. I had my black shirt inside. I had a trench coat over. It's London. I'm going to a church in London. That's what I'm thinking. And my brothers are all dressed up. They have their trench coats, like European style. And we arrive at Millmead, and the Uber drops us off at the front of Millmead, and we're trying to call you because we can't find out where you are. We're calling, we're texting, we don't know. You're like, okay, don't worry, we're gonna come. This, guys, is my first impression of KAC. I'm telling you right now, this is my first impression. I see Apostle Randolph, Adjei, come from the door of Millmead, walking with Apostle Obed, and there was another gentleman, I'm not sure, it was just maybe the two of you, walking. I see that you have camel pants on.
Yeah, I remember.
Rolled up till here.
Yes, sir.
I said, why this guy's camel pants rolled up? He had a t-shirt, maybe a white or black t-shirt, and a UK flag around his neck with black sneakers. I said, bro, where am I going? And I see this man walking, and he's like, "Bro, are you ready?" I'm like, bro. I'm like, "What do you mean? He's like, are you ready?" I'm like, I think so. I'm like, I hope so. I come in, and then you walk me. We go into, your office area and everything, and then you're like, "Yo, bro, don't worry, feel at home. This your church, this your house." And I felt like, wow, okay, this is a place that I can be. But I'll tell you that wasn't where it clicked for me. I walked into the sanctuary, and the voltage of prayer power. I think if anybody,
I think Sophia was leading prayer.
I can never forget.
Yeah.
I can never forget, because you have to understand, in Canada, it was still lockdown times. We were still in a bit of a lockdown post-COVID, and Canada, we really, really were restricted. So you can understand that prayer meetings, we weren't having prayer meetings. We weren't praying in corporate settings. We were praying at home. We were doing, when young people pray online, praying with hundreds and thousands online, but we weren't praying the gathering of the saints.
Yeah.
And so walking in from 2 years of no prayer meetings in person of 100, 200 people, to now walking into a condensed room, you know how Meet is, condensed room with a woman maybe 5 foot, you know what I mean? Standing on a chair, praying, and the voltage and the passion.
The crazy thing,
God.
a lot of people thought Casey was alone.
Okay.
But sitting back and watching, I think they are right. because there are some videos I watch in Meet. I'm like, this is too much. Like, I'm watching some videos now, and I'm like,
you're like, yo, bro.
I'm like, yo, this is like,
it's intense.
It's like people on drugs, bro.
No. It was. I'm telling you, it was so intense. Halfway through, I had to go outside just to get fresh air. No. This is exclusive on the Shepherd's Bench podcast. I had to go outside to what am I like? What is happening here? Because the music, the prayer was rising to a certain level. I said, "There's something is gonna break." Like, it was to the point whereby, I don't know if you remember that. You could go back. It was to the point whereby a glass could have shattered. Like, the voltage. And I'm a spiritual person. So when I'm walking into an atmosphere, I'm sensing things, and I'm like, whoa, my spirit man was energized. And this is what I always sense every time I go to Upper Room, every time I go to KC service or anything KC related, and just being around you, I feel energized. I was on the plane coming, and I was telling the Lord, I said, "Lord, yes, I'm going to go and minister, but I'm like, Lord, I want a refreshing." I was praying. I said, "God, I want a refreshing." Because I said, every time I come here, I get better. Every time I come here, I get sharper. Every time I come here, I get hungrier. And, iron sharpeneth iron. And I think that's one thing that has become a blueprint or a staple, if I could say that, to our friendship. Our brotherhood has been iron sharpeneth iron. True. I learned so much from you. And I think that connection right in that room in Millmead, seeing the passion of prayer, I realized in that moment what my movement was missing.
Wow.
And I think that for leaders, there is a sense and there's a place in maturity where you have to get to realize not what you have, but what you don't have.
Wow. Going to that.
And I think so. I think a lot of the times we zero in on what we have. Like, okay, I'm talented. I can preach. I can teach. I can do this. But there are some things that you don't have, right? And that's why the Bible says that I will give you, shepherds. I made some apostles, some teachers, some prophets, some evangelists, for the edification of the church, for the building of the church. Meaning this, that in order for there to, like you always say, in order for the whole counsel of God to be revealed, there needs to be different gifts to come in and to augment the work. And so if you don't have a certain grace, you bring in somebody who has that grace, your people are edified. The full counsel of God is released. We have a brother, Prophet Baleke. We bring him in. He comes. He releases the mind of Christ. The apostolic, the teaching, the prophetic, all the ministry, the deliverance, the music, the psalmistry comes together in order to beautifully weave together an amazing tapestry. And so I think that in that moment, I realized we pray, but we're not praying.
Wow.
And I think that it was, for me, very humbling. I remember in that moment that it was a service, I couldn't even preach that service because there is a side of me that only comes out in certain atmospheres. And I said it on the mic. I was like, I'm not like this outside of my church. You know what I mean? Like I only reserve that if we're doing revival meetings, whatever, within my church. But I've never been to a place outside of my church that has pulled on an anointing. And that's one thing that I saw. I saw a people who were hungry to pull on the anointing, hungry for impartation. I remember that service being so crazy. It was just ministration,
It was
prophetic
crazy.
ministry. I mean, so many things happened in that
I
moment.
think we were watching. I think
Mm.
we were watching that maybe just about 2 months ago.
Wow.
Me, Theo, Elijah, all of these guys. I think it was on the 26th, on the 26th of December.
Okay, after Christmas.
We just had to sit down and just watch that service again, because the way you moved. I mean, that service was monumental.
No. It was,
And to think that was the first service or in-gathering both of us were being in there.
Yes.
And for me, I think that after that service, my mind was made up.
Wow.
I was
Likewise.
like, there's a guy I would want to have an upper room. There's a guy I would want to listen to over and over and over again. And I think that's where all of this, incredible friendship began. I have a question though.
Talk to me, bro.
Do you think there are genuine friendships in ministry?
Yes, sir.
And if yes, what would you say you look out for?
Okay.
In before I give you my 10 cents on this matter, what do you look out for? But do you think there's space for genuine friendship in ministry?
I do think that there's space for genuine friendship in ministry. I think there is a space for it. Are there many of them? No. But do I think there's space for it? Yes. I believe that you need covenant friendships. You need brothers. You need people you can rely on. And I'll give an example. And I'll never forget this. Pastor Randolph, we've done so much in such a short amount of time.
Too many.
We've done a lot of stuff.
Too many.
Like in a short amount of time, we've done. It's been like 5 years now.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's been 15, 20 years.
I agree.
We've done conferences, we've traveled, we've gone to Africa, we've gone to Asia, we've gone to, America, we've done a lot of work. Europe, this, crusades, that. In 5 years, we've done a lot.
Yeah.
And I would say out of everything we've done, bro, there is one image I will never forget. It was a picture taken when my grandmother had passed. And I called Pastor Randolph. I said, my grandmother has passed. And my dad, who's also a father to Pastor Randolph, Dad called and Dad said, his mother had passed. And I'll never forget, you bought your own ticket, paid your own hotel, did everything. You flew and you came to Canada. Paul would say that, I was blessed by your coming.
Yeah.
And I think that there was some comfort when you know that people that you love are coming. And
they love you beyond the pulpit.
And that's exactly where I'm getting to, bro. They love you beyond the pulpit. That wasn't a preaching assignment, even though we had some revival meeting, but that wasn't the preaching assignment. That wasn't, hey, there's wildfire, there's YOF, I need you to come, this. I didn't know. No, this was, my grandmother had passed. And my brother is saying, this brotherhood doesn't stop if I'm not being invited. And I think that's the issue. Is that we have superficial friendships in ministry because people are looking for money.
Or platforms.
Opportunities. Or platform. Opportunities, whatever have you. Money, opportunities, platforms, this, connections, this, whatever, to be seen, to be platform. But I feel as though, or I know, that when you said you were coming, not only did you say it, but you did it. And it was your coming that brought comfort. We were burying my grandmother, and I don't know what happened to me. As we were carrying her casket out into the hearse, I just looked to my right. I see my cousins bawling their eyes out. These are cousins that I've never seen cry before. Like, I'm looking at my older cousins like, I have never seen you shed a tear. And you're crying. I look to my other side in front of me. My cousins are crying. Everybody is in sorrow. And that is the moment it hit me as I was carrying my late grandmother, that she's gone. My world began to turn. It felt like the sky was opening and the ground was shaking. I was looking and tears were coming out of my eye that I couldn't control and I couldn't put back into my eyes. And as I was there, I began to wobble. And as I was about to fall, guess who was there? Pastor Randolph. And you're there, and you hold me right before I fall. You remember?
I remember.
And you said, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. I can never forget.
Wow.
You see,
I don't remember I said that.
Yes, you said that. And you see, those are things that I remember because those are the moments that define friendship. Because that let me know that this is not a ministry friendship. Because the truth of the matter is that one day we won't be preaching.
No.
We will not be doing church. We will not be doing ministry. We'll not be doing, maybe ministry in another form. But in some years to come, there may be a moment whereby beyond the pulpit, I just need a brother.
Absolutely.
That I will be blessed by his coming.
And that is the frustration of friendships in ministry.
And so exactly. And so I've just showed a positive side of it, saying that I've seen how you have been able to be, and you are a friend beyond the pulpit. But the truth is, how many people can really say, I have a friend who will buy their own ticket, get their own hotel, show up in my city, not for a revival, not for a platform, not for a paycheck, but so that they could be blessed by my coming, the presence. So with that, to answer your question, is there space? Yes, because I see how God has knitted us together in that. Is it happening? I mean, from what I can see and the places that I've gone and the places that I go, I don't see deep-rooted friendships. I see surface-level friendships. I don't know how it is on your end and what you see, and you want to weigh in on this.
I think maybe in one of the episodes we can discuss maybe trauma and maybe the pain of ministry and how some leaders are feeling, and maybe that is why everybody kind of have their guards up. But I remember that funeral very well. I would say that funeral, more than anything, it spoke to me more about the character and the person of Dr. Ralph.
Wow.
Even though I had come for you as a brother, I'd come for him as a father, and all my brothers, Ray, Reggie, and Ralph. It's when I got there and Dr. Ralph told me to speak.
The system is working.
Yeah,
you can never forget that, sir.
Yeah. When Pops told me to speak at your grandmother's funeral, you don't just do that.
My God.
You don't just do that. This is something that you go for a bishop over you, you go for a spiritual father, you go for all of these kind of things. But for Dr. Ralph to say, son, I want you to speak, I had to literally go find myself somewhere and say, Holy Spirit, talk through me, because that's not what I came for. And for me, it was just a matter of just coming there. But for Pops to say, you know what, son, I want you to speak, I want you to share the word. I want you to just bring a word of encouragement. I was like, oh, you know what? This man sees me truly as a son.
Oh, yes.
And, majority of the time, from the cultural perspective, from an African cultural kind of thing, we look from downward up. So, like I said, in this type of situations, the very typical thing for somebody to do is to look for somebody above him, maybe, the father of Dr. Ralph, a colleague, a senior, whatever. But the fact that this man said, son, I want you to be the one who brings the word, and this is your uncle sitting there, these are your aunties sitting there, people that could be my biological parents, people that I could even be a grandson to, people that, are accomplished in life and all of these kind of things. And this is their mother, down. And for old boy to say, I want you to speak, that was a game changer. For me, it spoke to me more about the character of the man, the integrity of the man. And I saw in Dr. Ralph something that is not very common with fathers in ministry. And we'll explore some of these topics, in subsequent episodes, the moment we begin to record them. But yes, I think that there's a genuine place for friendship.
Okay.
Biblically, yes.
Yeah, biblically,
we, like you said, we can talk about, the Jonathan, David, and all of these kind of things. I don't think there is enough evidence beyond the Bible.
Okay.
And with a little time I've been in ministry, one of the things I've recognized is that a majority of people, when they come to you, they are just looking at how they ride on you or through you
opportunity
to get to where they want to be. So in the place of ministry, it's more of a numbers game. It's more of an influence game. It's more of, let me connect to this person because this is where I want to get to, and they have what it takes to get me there. And majority of the time, as long as you are able to give them what they are looking for, then they look like they are brothers. They can bring you all the gifts and all of the kind of things and things like that. But once they get there, it's like it's exploitation. We used you to get to where we wanted to be. And I think that's the challenge in ministry. It's the ability to discern and to find who is here genuinely for wanting to be here.
Wow.
And separating that from who is here to get to where they want to be. And it's very fake. It's really, really fake. It's a ministry thing that is pulpiteered. So, someone would invite you because they want you to invite them back. And when you invite them once, when they invite you once and twice, and you've not invited them back, then it becomes a problem.
It's an issue.
Like, oh, this guy, he's preached for me 2 or 3 times, but, he's never brought me to his church.
There's a score sheet.
Exactly. And I don't like that. And that is why I don't keep too many ministry friends. That is why I don't keep too many people around. Because if I want to get to know somebody, I want to get to know you for you. I already had this, God already built this philosophy in my mind. Already, yes, I understand in the place of ministry, God will bring you people in your way that will take you to your next dimension, and the solution to your issues in somebody's hands and all of these kind of things. And we can never in any way, shape, or form undermine the power of people,
of course,
in terms of where we want to go and where we have to be.
Yeah.
But one of the things the Lord also taught me from the beginning was also this: that never ever build anything with anybody because of where you want to get to. Because pertaining to where you want to get to, if nobody can offer it to you, I'm going to help you build it. So let me give you a typical example.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people are more concerned about connections. Some connections are too forced. Some people, let's say, get into an event. Like, I've been into some of the biggest conferences and events. Absolutely. And afterwards, there's an opportunity to go to the green room, and I won't. After sharing the grace, I'll be like, you know what? I sat here, the man of God preached, I'm blessed. I don't need to go to the green room to go and greet him and go on my knees for him to put hands on me. There's a certain level of impartation just by one being in an environment. Whatever they are speaking is already over you.
Absolutely.
But I've also seen this aspect of ministry where there is this false connection building. It's like, you know what? I need to get to know you. I need to take your number. I need to do all of these kind of things. And it is because people recognize that they can get their way to the top by connections. And that's true.
Okay.
That is true.
Okay.
If you take something like a ladder, every step on the ladder could be people.
Of course.
That you can absolutely walk on or step on and get to where you have to be. But then one of the things that the Lord said to me is this: if nobody is offering you that opportunity genuinely, I have what it takes to help you and make you build it. And there are certain people that you see pertaining to ministry that you don't see them on every flyer. I don't want to mention names on this podcast, but there are certain men and women that they did not get to where they got to on the basis of the flyers they were on, the conferences they spoke at. You don't judge their potency in ministry by the fact that they spoke in 1,000 conferences in a year.
Invitations.
But they may have just 2 conferences they run in a whole year, and it brings the whole world to them. So one of the things that Lord said to me is that get to know people for who they are, but don't get to know people because they can bring you where you have to be. And if nobody is offering you that opportunity, I have what it takes to make you create that opportunity. And the Lord said to me, he said, you know what? If you go to somebody, they may give you 30 minutes. But if I'm the one calling you to build it, and I give you that platform, you may have all the time you have to be able to talk about whatever you want to talk about and build whatever you want to build. So, I remember when I spoke to you, I said it was you that took me back to Ghana for the first time.
Yeah, I remember.
For ministry, I told you I'm not going to do it. And this was after I've had several invitations in Ghana. I said I don't want to go. You are the one that, I think Canada or America or whatever. And it was something that I had gotten a lot of invitations and I was not interested. The only reason why I decided to go with you is because for the first time I recognized this guy is not here for what he's looking for. He's here. This friendship is genuine. Yeah. So I was coming on these roads, not even if I didn't speak, I was there to just ensure that I'm genuinely helping a brother to build what he has to build, and it doesn't have to be about me. I remember I was speaking to you in Canada, and I said to you, no matter how much I come, and no matter whatever we do, God would never say to me that Campus Rush is your work, Randolph. Remember I was telling you that in Canada to say, you know what, bro, beyond everything, when I come here, I'm here to help what you are building. But when it's all said and done, Campus Rush is Pastor Kofi Dartey's work. It is Prophet Ralph Dartey's work. God is never going to come to me and say, Randolph, you did a great job. You went to build Campus Rush. No. So when I'm coming with this in mind. This is the man's work. This is his mission. I'm there to support it in any way, shape, or form. It can be on the mic. It can be off the mic.
And I've seen
it doesn't matter. Yeah. What matters to me is to genuinely see my brother do well.
Wow.
And I think that there are not a lot of people in the space of ministry that are there to look out for the genuine well-being of the brother, or of the friend. Yeah. You know, as long as it is something that helps them, then they would act like, yo, we are for you. But the moment, you know, you cut off what they are looking for, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
And that is why for a very long time, I wasn't so much open to, you know, friendships in ministry. And you know, shout out to, you know, great friends like Shamil.
Oh, yeah.
Shamil is a great brother.
Great brother.
You know, I remember many years ago, me and Shamil could be doing stuff. You know, I remember back then we were young and very, very, you know, excited about ministry. And I remember we started something. We would just go from different cities, you know, preaching and all of that. And we'd get there and I'll tell Shamil, bro, you preach. Let me just sit down. I don't need to hold the mic. The Ark of the Covenant is with you. Go ahead and do what you have to do. And I'm genuinely happy that my brother is preaching. I don't feel like I need to come and take the mic and prove anything. And you get to a certain place and you see ministers itching. You know, it's like they are there. They are not even on the.
But how do you get to that point, bro? Sorry to cut you off. But this is too important to skip over this, because I know you not only have. I mean, you're coming in a few weeks to us, and you come all the time to build. You're there with your people. You're there head down, on pulpit, off pulpit. I don't even want to get into, you know, examples in my personal life, in my ministerial life, in my leadership life. I've seen that, how you've been able to be there. We were in Indonesia. I think one of the meetings, and you told me, we got there. Firstly, you took me to Asia for the first time. I'd never been to Indonesia, but I said, listen, I'm going to go. My brother's saying, we got to go. And then we got there, and then you said, bro, the Ark is with you. And that's the first time I even had heard that lingo. You said, the Ark is with you tonight. I said, what do you mean the Ark is with me tonight? It's 2:00. Service is at 5:00. You know what I mean? If it's somebody who will say, let me know ahead of time, let me prepare myself. But you're like, no, it's with you. And you have to go. And it was one of, you know, the large gatherings that we had done on one of the major nights and evenings. And you sat down and you were okay supporting your brother. And likewise, I would do that 1,000 times over, you know, but I feel as though it's because there is not only a mutual respect, not only a genuine brother. Like, I don't see like, oh, Pastor Randolph is my ministry colleague. No. Pastor Randolph is my brother. We have the same father. Judah is my nephew. You know, Patience is my sister. It's my family. When you go to Ghana, you stay in my house. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you come to Canada, you come to our house. You eat in our kitchen. When I come to UK, I come to your, like, it is actual family. Now, with that, how do you think that you've been able, by the grace of God, to get to that point whereby that itch for competition or that itch to be seen has been killed? And I'll ask the second question that we can discuss. Do you think that even within kingdom friendships, there is competition?
There is.
And if there is, how do you navigate? So they're kind of intertwined, the two questions.
I think I just came back from Ghana 2 days ago, and this is one of the conversations that came up. And I think that one of the answers I said was that it's a matter of foundations.
Okay.
Foundations are so crucial.
Yeah.
The Bible says that if the foundation is destroyed, what will the righteous do? And I think that everything stems from foundations. The type of quality foundation Dr. Ralph has raised you with, the type of love he's giving you as a father, the examples he's giving you as a leader, it can almost bring you to a place where nothing kind of moves you or shakes you because you have a solid foundation.
Right.
I think that majority of the time, people have not found their identity outside of the pulpit.
Okay.
And for many, many, many leaders, pastors, ministers, when they are on the pulpit, they feel powerful. They feel relevant. They feel validated.
Okay.
The moment they don't have it, then they feel useless. And this is not just them. It's also a church type of culture.
Okay.
So you recognize that, I don't know about Canada, but in the UK, there's this culture where in every season, there's this minister, everybody invites, everybody goes for, everybody does, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then 2, 3, 4 years down the line, another one comes in and then they forget all of them.
Okay.
So I am very intentional. I don't go everywhere. I don't go anywhere. I'm very, very intentional because I don't want to get into that culture of you are a minister in vogue.
In demand.
You're a minister in demand.
Yes.
Then
you're the hot one. You're
exactly.
hot.
Then your ministry is a seasonal kind of ministry.
Okay.
So I think that for me, the type of foundations that we were raised in the apostolic church, in the Baptist church, if anybody's coming from the Baptist church, is a very strong doctrinal type of church.
Of course.
I was privileged by the grace of God. May the Lord bless his soul. He's dead and gone. I was raised by an old man. And I'm talking about I was potentially a young guy who was about 16, 17, 18 years. And I was maybe raised by a man back then who was like in maybe his 60s. And the type of training that we were given that training that your relevance was at the background. It was never about what happens at the forefront. So I find more pleasure in doing ministry unknown. I promise you, I struggle. I struggle with this.
Wow.
I struggle with all of these kind of things with, being out there and up there and being known and being seen.
But you're known, bro. You're a public
That's
figure.
the problem because there's a place where you get to where hiding becomes impossible. I promise you that if nobody ever knew me, I would be so happy because I think that sometimes you're able to do more damage unknown.
Of course.
Than you do damage known.
Of course.
I use this analogy all the time. If you get into every country, their strongest soldiers, their strongest security force, policemen,
Special ops.
they are not the people you see driving, not all of these police people you see driving all the time. You see them on the roads and all. These are people that are dealing with like pedestrian issues, thieves and all of that. But the moment there's something like a terrorist invasion, you would see all of these plainclothes policemen, all of these guys that are groomed in an underground place that doesn't come out. These are the people that they bring out when serious crisis, falls upon the city. And for me, I've always been that guy that says, you know what, I want to do damage from an unknown place.
Okay.
So I'm that type of guy that wants to be like a secret detective. He's working around you. You don't know him. You may underestimate him, but he's the most dangerous. And this was our orientation from the beginning. So we were trained in such a way that when the pastor is preaching, we're in a back room praying. When this is happening, we are not on the scene. We are somewhere interceding. And I think that type of training made me enjoy these kind of things that may not necessarily appeal to many people in ministry. And because of that, I have a lot of security in who I am.
Yourself, yeah.
And I think that is very crucial. I know that I'm not the most gifted. I may not be the most anointed. I may not be all of these kind of things, but I know what I'm good. I'm good in. And the moment you begin to identify that every place is not for you and you don't necessarily need to be strong in every single place, but you know your place, you know your lane, you know what you are good at, you are very okay for other people to shine in spaces that are made for them and not necessarily feel intimidated. And I think that if we can get to a place where we go beyond our identity in forefront ministry, and we recognize that your identity is first in Christ. Your identity is in who Jesus says you are. Yeah. And this may sound cliche for Christians, but it is not everybody's reality. When a man is secured in his identity, the shining of other people does not scare him. When people are insecure in their identity, then they feel like when other people are shining, then they are dimming, because they feel like relevance is when the applause are high. Relevance is when, people are speaking your name and all of these kind of things. So when somebody, let's say, comes into a conference, and they may not even necessarily be on the flyer, and I've seen people that have come to some of my conferences and they've seen things happen, and they'll come into you and say, "Oh, can I go and lead prayer? Can I?"
Really?
I'm telling you. I've seen people that would message you and text you and say, "Oh, you know what? We want to use our gift to help your conference." And then there's no problem in that. That may be genuine. But the moment you begin to beg, the moment you begin to ask, the moment you begin to push because you saw 6,000 people, 10,000 people, 200 people, 500 people, it's an indication that your identity is not firm. And for me, the moment I begin to see some of these type of signs, it can tell me that this guy, may not necessarily be here for the right reasons. They've seen an opportunity, they want to exploit it, and it's the glitz, it's the glamour, it's the pulpit, it's everything that comes with it. I have this type of philosophy that I say that I'm nice everywhere you meet me, but that's where it ends. So we could come into a room, and I could be laughing with everybody. I can smile with everybody. And I'm that guy that I don't need to know you for 1 year. I can meet you in 30 seconds and we can be friends. But it ends there. When I get home, it's me, my wife, my children, and that 1-2 brothers that I call genuine people or genuine friends like yourself, because I know that they are not in there necessarily for what you can give them. They are not in there necessarily for what you can afford them. They are in there because they genuinely like you as a person and they are interested in your well-being. Yeah. I mean, you were talking about the funeral. We can talk about when you came here, when we were launching this building. I remember I was speaking to you, an old boy, on the phone the night before. An old boy, shout out to old boy again, Dr. Ralph was, you guys play the game so I wasn't expecting you here. I wasn't expecting. And I think that's one of my absolute favorite moments in our friendship. You guys turning up, leaving Canada, buying your tickets, doing everything. And I don't even see it as you reciprocating something that I did. No. It's just the love, it's the genuineness. And when you got here, I sat down and I said, preach. You take one service.
And
Prof, take one service.
And that was the first service in this building.
Exactly. So, I could have said, it's the first service, let me preach. And all of that.
And we weren't ready. We were just here and genuinely happy because, listen, our brother has moved into a building in London. Like, how are we going to miss that? Like, that's not something that we think like, okay, maybe should we be there? Should we not be there? No, when something is family and when somebody's truly your brother, when their wins are your wins and their losses are your losses. And so it's like, listen, if you're winning, we have won. If you're losing, bro, we're both losing. What do we have to do to make this work? I remember, I'll never forget this. Just to wrap this up, I'll never forget, we were at Upper Room. This was in Frankfurt. This was the second year I came to Upper Room in Frankfurt. And I remember that time I had come with my brothers, I'd come with a few others, and I was still navigating, how to travel with large groups and people and this and that. And I remember I got to the conference. I was in my hotel and the meeting had started. And if you go to Upper Room or if you've ever been to Upper Room, you know that ministers never know when they're going to minister. So if you're on schedule, you can minister at any time as the Spirit leads. It literally just has to be, you have to be in the room. Literally, the tagline, be in the room, because you don't know what's going to happen. And I remember I came late to that service. Assault grabbed me after the service and he's like, bro, where were you? And I was like, bro, like I was doing it. He's like, bro, it doesn't matter. You have to be here. He said, bro, it's not just my conference. It's us doing it. And I could never forget that. I'm like, what do you mean us? This is your conference. I'm coming to support you. You're my brother. And he said, no. It's us doing this conference. You have to be here early. You have to be on time. And from that day forward, I think you can attest, even last year's
Yeah.
upper room,
Yeah.
I said, don't bring me to where the ministers are staying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me stay on grounds because it's never left my mind. It's our conference. We are doing it together. And I will do anything just to be able to see you win. And so, bro,
Same here, bro.
I think that's the inception of it, man. And this is the Shepherd's Bench podcast episode number 1.
Wow. It happened.
It happened. Friends, this is the end for today. We'll see you next time. Myself, Apostle Randolph, any words?
It's happening.
We'll see you. It's happening.
I'm looking forward to all the things we are going to discuss because I think this podcast is going to help a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
And it's a great opportunity even for us to even learn.
Yeah.
So we'll catch you on the next episode.